Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm the Book Geek, also known as Kiava, and today we're going to talk about some horror and thriller books that you may have missed earlier this year. So there have been so many great horror and thriller books that have been released in 2024. I think I only managed to get to maybe 2 new releases in the horror thriller category, but I did want to highlight some other horror and thriller books that I haven't seen too many people talking about this year that were released this year that I have missed myself but are still high up on my list to read, and maybe you have missed these books as well. The first book up on the list is titled We Ate the Dark. It's about 4 women investigating the murder of their friend, and it seems as though they're going to discover more than they ever imagined. So a woman named Sophia disappeared. Her remains were found stuffed into the hollow of a tree, bursting through the floorboards of an abandoned house in the woods. And the women who loved her, they flock home to deal with their grief. One of the friends knows something that the other friends do not, and each of them is determined to figure out what happened to their friend. Lots of secrets are going to be revealed, and they might figure out that their friend Sophia wasn't the person that they thought she was. This is supposed to be a horror, mystery, gothic type of story. Next up, we have a book titled Ghost Roots. This is a collection of stories. This is a collection of stories where the characters vie for freedom from ancestral ties. This is based in African culture. It's set in Nigeria. It's supposed to be very speculative, and the stories seem to be dealing with a lot of human emotion. All the hunger, longing, fear, and delight of being a human in the world. So that should be interesting. That's definitely on my list of books to read in 2025. It has a pretty good rating as well here on Goodreads, and I really love the cover. So next up on the list is a book titled Very Dark Thoughts. This is another horror story. I think this is a collection of stories. Because it says here, a scientist analyzes audio from Mars that reveals mysterious screams. A young man takes a haunted plane flight. An unsettling life-size doll hides a sinister secret. A man races against time to solve a series of twisted puzzles in a sadistic escape room. An Arctic excavation unleashes an attack from an alternate dimension. A man seeks a supernatural wandering campfire in the woods. Oh my God, all of these sound amazing. The tales in this collection serve as grim reminders that often the most terrifying horrors aren't waiting in the shadows, but lurking within our own minds. This one sounds really, really good. So this is a collection of stories, and I like all of those topics that were listed. Definitely going on the list for me to read. This one came out early this year, February of this year. I've heard no one talk about this one. Next up is another gothic horror. Really like the cover. The cover is really giving gothic vibes. This one is titled A Voice Calling. Button House has stood for generations, digging its roots and its rot deeper and deeper. Button House would consume all who approached. 2 twin brothers, a child bride, an innocent baby, 4 young factory workers. And then came Rose Billings, who had an affinity with the house no other did. Rose, who could hear the house and the pleas of its many ghosts. Rose, who would attempt to solve the mysteries of Button House or die trying. Okay, I might give that a go. This one came out in March. Heard no one talking about this one. This next one is a thriller, mystery, maybe a little bit of horror mixed in there. I have seen this cover floating around here and there, but not as often as I've seen some of the other ones. This one is titled Where You In. When Catbird wakes up from a coma, she sees her mirror image, Jude, her twin sister. Jude's face and name are the only memories Cat has from before her accident. As Cat tries to make sense of things, she believes Jude will provide all the answers to her most pressing questions. What happened? Where am I? Who am I? Amid this tragedy, Jude sees an irresistible opportunity. She can give her sister a brand new pass. one worlds away from the lives they really led. Ooh, okay. She spins tales of an idyllic childhood, exotic travels, and a bright future. So she's lying about the past. But if everything was so perfect, who are the mysterious people following Kat? And what explains her uncontrollable flashes of violent anger, which begin to jeopardize a sweet new romance? Duped by the one person she trusted, Kat must try to untangle fact from fiction. Oh, this is going to be twisty. Yet, as she pulls at the threads of Drew's elaborate tapestry, she has no idea of the catastrophe she's inviting. What is her sister trying to protect her from? What happened in their past that she saw an opportunity to protect her from? Okay, this one might be pretty good. Oh, I think this is a Natasha Preston book. It is. This next book is by Natasha Preston. I have read a couple of her books before, and this one is titled The Dare. This is a thriller mystery. As senior year comes to an end, senior pranks are just beginning. It all starts innocently enough. Marley and her friends, Atlas, oh, I love that name, Atlas, Lucia and Jessie, they egg houses. I used to do that when I was a kid. Set chickens free on the quad and fill the principal's office with glitter-filled balloons. But when Jessie accepts a dare to drive Danger Alley, a 10-mile stretch of winding road that's notorious for car wrecks with no headlights, things take a turn for the worse. Now the four friends are bound by a tragic accident and a dark secret that threatens their bright futures. Okay, this one, I mean, the premise of that sounds a little predictable, but maybe she'll throw in a twist. I don't know. I have enjoyed Natasha Preston's books in the past, so I might give this one a try. I really love the cover as well. Next up, we have My Throat, an Open Grave. This one came out in February. This is a young adult horror fantasy. I really love this cover as well. This says it's labyrinth meets folk horror. It is a darkly romantic tale of a girl who wishes her baby brother away to the Lord of the Wood. Okay. Yes, that sounds very fantastical. Growing up in the small town of Winston, Pennsylvania, this is a long synopsis. Feels like drowning. Let's skim through this. Leah goes to church every Sunday. She works when she isn't at school and takes care of her baby brother, Owen. She tries to be good and holy because she believes if she isn't, the Lord of the Wood will take her and she'll disappear like so many other girls before her. So it seems like they got some sort of legend in this town or whatever. One night when Owen won't stop screaming, Leah wishes him away and the Lord listens. So is this going to be like a religious horror also? The screaming stops and all that's left in the crib is a little small bundle of sticks tied with a ribbon. Okay, maybe some I'm getting Blair Witch vibes. Okay. Leah is forced to cross the river into the Lord of the Wood's domain to bring Owen back. But the devilish figure who has haunted Winston for generations isn't what she expects. He tells her she can have her brother back for the price of a song that Leah will have 1 month to write. It's a bargain that will uncover secrets her hometown has tried to keep buried for decades, and what she unearths will have her questioning everything she's been taught to fear. Okay, I don't read too many young adult horror books, but I'm not against them. The cover of this next one is definitely giving fantasy romance. It is titled Your Blood, My Bones. I guess it has some horror elements. Wyatt has one plan for the farmhouse that she has just inherited. She wants to burn it to the ground. But during her final walkthrough of her childhood home, she makes a shocking discovery in the basement. Peter, the boy she once considered her best friend, strung up in chains and left for dead. Okay. Is this going to be like a love story with a dead person? I don't want to read no more of the synopsis. But that part just sounded interesting. What's the next book? I have seen this next cover floating around as well. This is another young adult horror fantasy. And it is called The Bad Ones. Really love this cover. In the course of a single winter's night, 4 people vanish without a trace across a small town. Our main character's name is Nora. Nora is trying to untangle the truth. Her friend is one of the people that vanished. She discovers a darkness in her town's past, as well as a string of coded messages Becker left for her to unravel. These clues lead Nora to a piece of local folklore, a legendary goddess of forgotten origins who played a role in Nora and Becca's own childhood games. Our Wicked Histories, another young adult. A teen girl's attempt to make amends with her former friend group takes a sinister turn during a weekend getaway. There's something in the lake at Wren Hall. That's what the locals say. So it seems like this girl, Meg, takes up the opportunity to go to this weekend retreat to try and kind of get back in good graces, and things will be discovered, basically. Also, something happened that resulted in her suspension, and none of her old friends have talked to her since. What the hell did Meg do, and what's going to happen during this retreat? That's the question. All right, I love this next cover. Oh my God. This is another young adult book. The cover is to die for. The book is titled So Witches We Became. And I love this tagline. It says, if boys will be boys, girls will fight back. For high school senior Nell and her friends, a vacation house on a private Florida island sounds like the makers of a dream spring break. But Nell brings secrets with her, secrets that fuse with the island's tragic history, trapping them all with a curse that surrounds the island and a toxic, vengeful mist in the surrounding waters with an unseen devouring beast. Getting out alive means risking her friendships, her sanity, and even her own life. In order to save herself and her friends, Nell will have to face memories she'd rather leave behind, reveal the horrific truth behind the encounter that changed her life 1 year ago, and face the shadow that's haunted her since childhood. Easier said than done. But when Nell's friends reveal that they each brought secrets of their own, a solution even more dangerous than the curse begins to take shape. Next up, we have the Z Word. Oh, this is zombies. I love zombies. Chaotic bisexual Wendy is trying to find her place in the queer community. Wendy and her friends and her frenemies are going to have to team up to stay alive. Hopefully without killing each other first. This next one is called I Can See Your Lies. Really dope cover. Finn's reality is crumbling. Her husband has abandoned her. She's now a single mom to a 9-year-old daughter. Her LA home is sweltering and she's being haunted by disturbing hallucinations that make life a waking nightmare. Are the visions a product of stress, trauma, psychosis, or something else? The answers to those questions become more clear when Finn starts digging up dark secrets connected to her mother's cold case disappearance. A once rising actress who mysteriously vanished in 1979. Will Finn slowly unravel the truth, or will it remain hidden forever beneath the glitz and glamour of illusion? Okay, this one is by Izzy Lee. This one came out February. It hasn't been on too many people's radars. Okay, I have seen this next book floating around in some places. This one is titled The Ascent. It is a thriller. When a high-security prison fails, a down-on-his-luck cop and the governor's daughter are going to have to team up if they're going to escape. In a small, corrupt Missouri town, he's brutally beaten and thrown into a maximum-security prison. Julie Wakefield, a grad student who happens to be the governor's daughter, is about to take a tour of the prison. But when a malfunction in the security system releases a horde of prisoners, a fierce struggle for survival ensues. Okay, so the two of them are in this prison at the same time, and he's going to have to help her, and they're going to have to help each other survive. This next one is a novella. It is titled Mewing by Chloe Spencer. Vixen would sell her soul to get into the Bleach Babes, and if she isn't careful, she might just get what she wants. One of the most exclusive influencer co-ops in LA, the Bleach Babes live and work together in one big house where they have it all: popularity, talent, beauty. Their leader? Supermodel Margot, a woman as sinister as she is sexy. After Margot agrees to take Vixen under her wing and into her bed, Vixen moves in and begins hustling. Success comes hard and fast, but the glitz and glamour comes with a price that may cost her her sanity and her life. This next one is titled The Best Way to Bury Your Husband. I think this is going to be a comedy. Yes, it says here, a dark comedy about 4 women coming together to heal the damage their husbands have done and hide their bodies once they've killed them. Oh, this sounds hilarious. I want to read it. That's all I need to know. It is a mystery thriller. This next one is also a novella. It is titled An Affinity for Formaldehyde. Lou, a queer woman, returns to her hometown to stop her grandmother from marrying Lou's childhood best friend. What? She hasn't visited in several years, and she and her best friend have yet to make peace with the death of his sister. When Lou discovers her grandmother's obsession with taxidermy, she attempts to leave, but her grandmother has a sinister plan in store for Lou. She won't be going anywhere anytime soon. Is she going to try to taxidermy somebody? Is that what's going to happen? This next book is by Haley Piper. I think she has another book that came out this year, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, maybe this is the one I'm thinking about. I don't know. But this one is called Cranberry Cove. It is a horror mystery. It is another novella. This one is only 152 pages long. Really creepy cover. And it says something unspeakable is happening at Cranberry Cove. For decades, the killing mystery within the derelict hotel has claimed those foolish and unwary enough to go inside. Okay, is this like a Cecil Hotel type of thing? Following the violent assault of a criminal kingpin's adult son, enforcer Emberly Hale takes a dark journey into the haunted core of Cranberry Cove and her own past to find out the horrible truth. Something strange and sinister is happening inside this hotel. Got a whole Cecil Hotel type of thing going on. If you haven't seen Cecil Hotel, go run to Netflix and go watch it. I think it's still on there. This one is called Gray Dog, and I love this cover. Oh my God. This is a historical horror. It says it is a literary horror novel that disrupts the tropes of women's historical fiction with delusions, wild beasts, and the uncontainable power of female rage. Women are angry. And so many people have to read lists based on feminine rage, on female rage. So the year is 1901, and Ada, she's a spinster, accepts a teaching post and isolated Lori Bridge. Okay, let's skip over that. She develops friendships with her neighbor. She explores the woods with her students. And she begins to see a future in this tiny farming community. Her past, riddled with grief and shame, has never seemed so far away. But then, Ada begins to witness strange things, okay? A grisly swarm of dying crickets, a self-mutilating rabbit, a malformed fawn. She soon believes that something ancient and beastly, which she calls the Gray Dog, is behind these visceral offerings, which both beckon and repel her. As her confusion deepens, her grip on what is real, what is delusion, and what is traumatic memory begins to fail. Ada takes on the wildness of the woods and begins to wonder which is more dangerous, the Gray Dog or herself. Okay, it's definitely on my list. The cover of this next one is what intrigued me the most. This one is titled Lockjaw. It's something about these young kids on bikes that just reminds me of it. Death is neither the beginning nor the end for the children of Bridlinton in this debut trans YA horror book. Okay. Chuck Warren died tragically at the old abandoned mill. Paz knows it was no accident. There's a monster under the town, and she's determined to kill it before anyone else gets hurt. She'll need the help of her crew, inseparable friends bound by a childhood pact stronger than diamonds, distance, or death, to hunt it down. Tell me this don't remind you of it. We got a group of kids, okay, hunting down some sort of monster. This is the Losers Club. She's up against a greater force of evil than she ever could have imagined. Okay, I want to read this. It's giving me It vibes. And It is one of my favorite books. I want to read this. Lockjaw. This one is titled Through the Midnight Door. It's a story that's going to explore sisterhood. The Finch sisters once spent long, hot summers exploring the dozens of abandoned properties, littering their dying town. I was like that when I was a kid. I was obsessed with abandoned houses, abandoned places. And I remember in high school, I was taking a photography class, and for an assignment, I went out and took pictures of a bunch of abandoned places, black and white photography. And I don't know where those pictures are now, but yeah. Anyway, back to the synopsis. Until they found an impossible home with an endless hall of doors and 3 keys left waiting for them. Curious, fearless, they stepped inside their chosen rooms and experienced horrors they never dared speak of again. Where the hell did these doors lead to? I'm so fascinated by stories of magical doors that take you someplace else. So if anybody has any recommendations, it don't even have to be horror, about a book like the Chronicles of Narnia with the wardrobe, anything with something magical, like a portal, especially a magical door that leads you someplace else, please put it down in the comment section. This right here with the doors and the keys reminds me of Lock and Key, which is a horror graphic novel. It is phenomenal. What happened here, though? I'm getting off track. Years later, younger sister Claire has been discovered dead in that old house. Haunted by their sister's suicide and the memories of a past they've struggled to forget, Meg and Esther find themselves at bitter odds as they navigate the tensions of their brittle relationship. They draw unsettling lines between Claire's death, their own haunted memories, and a long ago loss no one in their family has ever been able to face. I don't think she killed herself. That's just my early prediction. Okay, some strange things happened in this house and one of the sisters ended up dead. I don't think she killed herself. I think the house killed her. Now, I had to add this next one because the cover is just so pretty. It is titled The House Where Death Lives. This is a short story collection. It is young adult. It is horror. This story is going to explore how a home can become a space of transition and change for both the inhabitants and the creatures who haunt them. Each story focuses on a different room in the house. Next up, we have Here Lies a Vengeful Bitch. This one is on here simply because of that title alone. I mean, that's a great title. Seems like a bad girl named Annie was murdered, and she is back from the grave and hell-bent on revenge. That's all I need to know. Yeah, that's all I need to know. It is a young adult horror. I saw that this next one had mentioned vampires, and that is the only reason why it's on my list. I love vampire stories. This one is titled To You Shall All Flesh Come. A brilliant chief of surgery and his team ensnare vampires, harvest their organs to donate or sell on the black market, then tag them like sharks and release them back into the wild. Encased within the paste taker attached to the heart are a toothpick and a monitor of the levels of human blood in the vampire system. Their levels rise too high and they get death by toothpick. It's a barbaric new method to keep vampires docile. Apparently they've been on the honor system. This is a different type of vampire story. I really like the cover too. It's simple, but I like that. This one is titled The Deading. It says that it is Stephen King's Under the Dome meets The Last of Us. Hook, line, and sinker for me. Let's see. It's a dystopian novel about the downward spiral of a seaside town that becomes infected by a mysterious ocean-borne contagion. Wow. Once you're infected, let's see, residents of Baywood start deading, collapsing and dying, only to rise again, changed in ways both fanatical and physical. If you want to stay, you have to die. Top priority of horror? I think my book club would really love this one. Maybe we can add this into one of our reads of the new year. This one is titled Hell Pig. It's a short horror story. It's only 110 pages. It says Dr. Delambry is in a scramble to salvage his life's work. Darwin must face his bigoted father to help his ailing mother. Russ desperately wants to keep his dying bar alive and his family's name preserved. Callista needs money to build a new life, even if it means enmeshing herself in a dark secret. Their stories collide in the forgotten town of Thebes, Nebraska, deep in the sandhills, where a prehistoric threat rears its hideous head. Okay. We also have a book titled Feeding Lucy. Phenomenal cover. Oh my God. This would have been great for Christmas. I mean, it's still December technically. So this would be a great book to read this month just based off the cover. Oh, I love the author's name. Is that a pen name? Mo Medusa. She gets a strange call informing her of her mother's sudden death, which draws her back to this town. She arrives days before the Scandinavian tradition of Lucia. That explains the cover while she has the candles on her head. An unexpected blizzard rolls through, revealing the true nature of the feast and the evil that resides in the mountains. The darkness of her mother's past is brought to light once again. So she's going to be caught between tradition and terror. This cover is, oh, I just love that cover. Might be one of my favorite covers from a horror book this year. And I haven't even read this one yet. I believe this next book is titled The Psychographist. And this is a horror. The Hoyers are an American family, 2 parents, 2 kids, a house they can't afford, and a deep desire for more. A guy named Mr. Cormorant comes to town, which makes them think that they might finally be able to cash in on their American dream. Mr. Cormorant is a psychographist, an expert in consumer personas. All right, what's this fucking book about? He's testing a product. And he has selected the Hoyers for a simple task. Test the product. Live with it. Breathe it in. Abide by its demands. What is this product? What is it? In return, riches. The cost? Immeasurable. The Psychographist is a disturbing novel of consumption, advertising, focus groups, and decisions that defined us. Okay, this is probably going to also dive into the fact that people will do anything for money and or to live comfortably. Okay. This kind of reminds me of Gwendy's button box. This is your button box. Take care of it. Blah, 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 blah. And it comes with a price. There are a lot of stories like that. I mean, you could say Coraline is one, where she goes into another place and they offer her all these good things, but it comes with a price. The Thief of Always by Clive Barker. That's another great one. You got offered a lot of things that came with a heavy price. Yeah. Sounds interesting. I definitely want to read that. And there's something very disturbing about that cover. It's like a photo with a different type of exposure. Okay. Definitely going on my list to read. All right, this next one is titled The Count. And it is a horror. When Sam's ex winds up gutted beyond recognition, Sam has no memory of where he was at the time. He can only remember the strange comfort of his new house. Okay, the endless ticking of a clock he can't find. Oh, that sounds like some Edgar Allan Poe shit right there. And the clock must be very important to this story because the cover is a clock. The bloody knife he woke up holding the morning Danny was killed. Sam's guilt over Danny is undercut by the endless ticking, a growing desire to drink from the dead, and anonymous GPS pings that lead him to corpses. Okay. There's more to the synopsis, but that's already piqued my interest. That one came out in April. Next one is titled Lord of the Feast. This is a horror thriller. Another creepy cover. Oh, I was just talking about Clive Barker. This one says that readers of Clive Barker would enjoy this book. Oh, maybe it's a cult story. Hold on. 20 years ago, a cult attempted to create their own The Lord of the Feast. The god was a horrible, misbegotten thing. Okay. The cultists killed the creature before it could come into its full power. The cultists trapped the pieces of their god inside mystic nightstones, then went their separate ways. Now Kate, one of the cultists' children, seeks out her long-lost relatives, hoping to learn the truth of what really happened on that fateful night. Unknown to Kate, her cousin Ethan is following her, hoping she'll lead him to the nightstones so that he might resurrect the Lord of the Feast. Of course. Oh, brother. Okay. This one sounds good. This next one, I believe, is more of a thriller. It's a mystery, historical fiction thriller, mystery thriller. And the cover is just beautiful. It's called Kill Her Twice. Let's see. We are in LA in 1932. And Lulu is the star of the silver screen and the pride of Chinatown. All right. Seems like Lulu's going to die, but her sisters suspect Lulu's death is the result of foul play. There are signs that point to the possibility of a police cover-up. Worried that neither the police nor the papers will treat a Chinese girl fairly, no matter how famous and wealthy, the sisters set out to solve their friend's murder themselves. Okay. All right. This is giving Black Dahlia, Marilyn Monroe vibes. Oh, and I love that title, Kill Her Twice, because she was murdered and by law enforcement not doing everything they can in their power to try and figure out what happened. It's kind of like she's died twice. I mean, that's what I'm gathering just from the synopsis. This one is titled Midwestern Gothic. It is another short story collection, I believe. A collection of horror stories from the American heartland. And I think this will be the last one I talk about. This one is titled That Which Stands Outside, a horror novel inspired by Nordic folklore. Okay, so we have a character named Todd. He rescues a young lady from muggers one rainy night, and their friendship develops into a romance. When her mother dies, Todd accompanies her back to her childhood home, which is an isolated Nordic island. The reception they receive there is one of suspicion and hostility. The islanders believe her to be a child of a mythic race called the Jotnar. I know I'm not saying that right. A claim which she dismisses as superstitious nonsense. But as the island is rocked by a series of devastating events, Todd finds himself caught up in a terrifying battle, one which possibly threatens the future of the world itself. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This one came out in July. Well, there you have it. Those are just some horror novels that I haven't heard many people talking about. Some horror novels that I have missed, that you may have missed. I knew about these books, but I just haven't heard too many people talking about them, or haven't heard anyone talking about some of those at all. So I just wanted to shine a light on some lesser known horror stories that have been released this year. I have a whole list here. I was keeping track of a lot of different horror stories, horror books that came out this year on paper as well as on my Goodreads. But I did want to highlight some of the lesser known ones that we haven't heard too many people online talking about. A lot of these are at the top of my reading list for next year. Some of these I might even add into my book club. I'm very excited for horror next year. I have a lot of backlisted books I need to read, just a lot of books. And I'm also hoping to expand past horror, but that's neither here nor there for this video. Anyway, let me know if you know of any other lesser known horror books, horror or thriller books that came out earlier this year that you haven't heard too many people speak about. I would love to know. You can leave those recommendations down in my comment section. But for now, that is all I have for you. I'm going to go. Merry Christmas if that's something that you celebrate. Happy holidays, and I hope you have a fantastic new year. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.